Number title: Women over 60, the right way to use fenugreek seeds for blood sugar. Number alternative title: Fenugreek seeds for blood sugar. 5 mistakes women over 60 should avoid. Number thumbnail text: Don't just drink the water. Number full YouTube script: Have you been told that controlling your blood sugar means giving up bread, rice, fruit, and nearly every food you enjoy? For many women over 60, that advice can make eating feel like a daily punishment. But supporting healthier blood sugar is not only about what you remove from your plate. Sometimes, what you add matters too. And just as importantly, how you prepare it can change what you are actually getting from that food. One small golden seed has received a great deal of attention for blood sugar. It is called fenugreek. You may also see it labeled as methy. Some people soak the seeds overnight and drink only the water. Others grind the seeds into powder, mix them into food, or swallow large amounts because they heard that more must be better. But those methods are not equal, and one very common preparation mistake may cause you to throw away the part of the seed that matters most. Today, we are going to look at what fenugreek may and may not do for blood sugar, 4 practical ways to prepare it, the mistakes to avoid, and the important warning every woman taking diabetes medication needs to hear. Because natural does not automatically mean harmless. And fenugreek is not a replacement for your medication, your glucose monitoring, or the plan you created with your healthcare professional. But used thoughtfully, it may be one food ingredient worth understanding. Number, why blood sugar is not only about removing carbohydrates. Before we prepare the seeds, let us quickly look at why this matters. When you eat foods containing carbohydrates, your body breaks some of those carbohydrates down into glucose. That glucose enters your bloodstream. Your body then releases insulin, a hormone that helps move glucose from your blood into your cells, where it can be used for energy. In insulin resistance, the insulin signal is still being sent, but the cells do not respond as efficiently as they once did. As a result, more glucose may remain in the bloodstream. This does not mean that one food caused the entire problem. Age, activity, sleep, muscle mass, medications, genetics, meal size, and the overall eating pattern may all play a role. It also does not mean that every carbohydrate must disappear from your plate. A better question is this: can the meal be built in a way that allows glucose to enter the bloodstream more gradually? This is where fiber-rich foods become important. Fiber does not erase carbohydrates, but certain types of fiber may slow digestion and help reduce how quickly glucose appears in the bloodstream after a meal. And that brings us to fenugreek. Number, what makes fenugreek different? Fenugreek seeds are small, hard, golden brown seeds commonly used in Indian, Middle Eastern, and North African cooking. They have a strong smell and a naturally bitter taste. Inside the seed is a type of soluble fiber, including a gel-forming fiber known as galactomannan. That name sounds complicated, but the basic idea is simple. When this fiber comes into contact with water, it absorbs some of that water and becomes thick and slightly slippery. Think about what happens when chia seeds sit in liquid. The mixture becomes gel-like. Fenugreek does something similar. Inside a meal, that fiber may help slow the digestion and absorption of carbohydrates. Instead of glucose arriving in the bloodstream all at once, it may arrive more gradually. Researchers are also studying other natural compounds in fenugreek, including one called 4-hydroxyisoleucine. But much of the discussion about that compound comes from laboratory or animal research, so we should not claim that fenugreek repairs the pancreas, restores insulin production, or reverses diabetes. The human evidence is more modest. Clinical trials and research reviews suggest that fenugreek may improve fasting glucose, after-meal glucose, or HbA1c in some people. But the studies have used different amounts, different preparations, and different groups of participants. Some studies have also been small or lower in quality. That means fenugreek may be helpful for some people, but it is not a guaranteed treatment, and no one can promise exactly how much it will change your numbers. Now let us look at the preparation mistake that is repeated all over the internet. Mistake. Number 1. Drinking the water and throwing away the seeds. You may have heard this advice. Soak fenugreek seeds overnight. Drink the water in the morning, then throw away the seeds. It sounds simple, but there is a problem. A meaningful amount of the seed's fiber remains inside the softened seed material. Not everything moves into the water. If you drink only the clear water and discard everything else, you may also be discarding part of the fiber that made fenugreek interesting in the first place. This does not prove that fenugreek water has no value. We do not have a strong head-to-head trial showing that drinking only the water is useless. But many human studies used the seed powder, or the whole seed, not simply clear, flavored water with the solids removed. So, a more reasonable approach may be to consume the softened seeds or the suspended powder as well, provided your digestion tolerates it. The slightly thick or slippery portion is not necessarily something to filter out. That is where some of the gel-forming fiber may be. This brings us to the first preparation method. Method 1. Ground fenugreek in hot water. Using ground fenugreek with hot water is one of the methods that has been studied directly in people with type 2 diabetes. In some small trials, participants used approximately 10 grams of fenugreek each day. However, that number is a research dose. It is not a universal recommendation for every viewer. 10 grams can be much more than an ordinary pinch of spice, and larger amounts may cause digestive problems or interact with medication. Do not copy a research dose simply because you heard it in a video. The amount that is appropriate for you may depend on your medications, glucose readings, digestion, and overall health. If your healthcare professional agrees that fenugreek is appropriate for you, here is a practical food preparation method. First, rinse the seeds and allow them to dry. Then grind or crush them into a coarse powder. Place the measured powder in a cup and add hot water. Stir it and allow the mixture to stand for about 10 to 15 minutes. The mixture may become slightly thick. Stir it again before using it so that the powder and fiber are not left at the bottom. And unless your healthcare professional has advised otherwise, do not begin with a large amount. Fenugreek can cause gas, bloating, nausea, diarrhea, or abdominal discomfort, especially when someone suddenly introduces a large amount of fiber. The goal is not to prove how much you can tolerate. The goal is to determine whether a small, food-based addition fits safely into your routine. And do not add honey, brown sugar, maple syrup, or regular sugar simply to cover the bitterness. Adding a sweetener may work against the very reason you are using the seeds. If the flavor is unpleasant, there are easier ways to include fenugreek in food. We will cover those in a moment. But first, what about the popular overnight method? Method 2. Soaking whole seeds overnight. Soaking whole fenugreek seeds can soften them and make them easier to chew. It also allows the fiber to absorb water, but overnight soaking has not been proven superior to the hot water method. We also do not have good evidence showing that fenugreek works better first thing in the morning, on an empty stomach, or at one exact time of day. Those claims are often repeated online, but they are stronger than the evidence. If you choose to soak the seeds, keep food safety in mind. Rinse the seeds. Place them in a clean, covered container. Soak them in the refrigerator, rather than leaving them at room temperature throughout a warm night. In the morning, check the smell and appearance. If you notice an unusual odor, foam, or signs of fermentation, discard them. You can chew the softened seeds with a meal, or cook them into another dish. Eating the softened seeds makes more nutritional sense than drinking only the water and throwing the seeds away. But it may not be comfortable for everyone. Whole seeds can still be difficult to chew, and their fiber may cause digestive discomfort. Women with swallowing difficulties, dental problems, sensitive digestion, or a history of intestinal narrowing should not force themselves to eat hard or swollen seeds without professional guidance. There is another method that is often easier. Method 3. Lightly roasting and grinding the seeds. Raw fenugreek can be extremely bitter. Light roasting may reduce some of that raw bitterness and produce a warmer, nuttier aroma. Place the dry seeds in a clean pan over low heat. Stir them continuously. Stop when they become fragrant. Do not continue until they are dark, blackened, or burnt. Burning the seeds does not activate a special blood sugar compound. There is no strong clinical evidence showing that roasted fenugreek controls blood sugar better than raw fenugreek. The reason to roast it is flavor. That matters because a food is only useful if you can include it in a safe, sustainable way. After roasting, allow the seeds to cool completely. Then grind them into a powder. A small amount can be stirred into lentil soup, vegetable soup, beans, chickpea dishes, stews, or a plain yogurt without added sugar. It may also be combined with spices such as cumin, coriander, paprika, or turmeric to reduce the bitterness. But remember this, fenugreek does not cancel out the rest of the meal. Adding fenugreek to a large bowl of sweetened cereal does not prevent that cereal from affecting your glucose. Adding it to white bread does not make the bread carbohydrate-free. And adding honey to fenugreek does not create a blood sugar remedy. The entire meal still matters. Method 4. Using fenugreek as part of a balanced meal. For many women, this may be the most practical approach. Instead of treating fenugreek like a medicine you must swallow every morning, use it as a small food ingredient. You might add a measured amount of ground fenugreek to a lentil and vegetable soup, a chickpea stew, plain oatmeal without added sugar, plain Greek yogurt, a vegetable curry, a soup containing vegetables and a source of protein, or a whole grain bread recipe in which some refined flour has been replaced. Researchers have studied fenugreek powder added to flour and observed a lower glucose response in certain test meals. But that does not mean fenugreek bread can be eaten without attention to portion size. Total carbohydrate still matters. So do the type of flour, added sugar, portion size, and the other foods on the plate. A more useful way to think about fenugreek is this. It may become one part of a balanced meal. It does not rescue an unbalanced one. Now, there is one more preparation that may sound especially healthy, but deserves caution. Number. Should women over 60 eat raw fenugreek sprouts? Fenugreek seeds can be sprouted. You may see raw fenugreek sprouts recommended for salads because sprouting changes the texture and flavor. But raw sprouts can carry harmful bacteria. The warm, damp conditions required for sprouting are also ideal conditions for bacteria to grow. Older adults, people with diabetes, and people with a weakened immune system can face a greater risk of serious illness from contaminated food. For that reason, raw fenugreek sprouts are not the preparation I would prioritize for women over 60. If sprouts are used, they should be cooked thoroughly. Using cooked seeds or ground seed powder is the more cautious option. And now we need to discuss the most important part of this video. WK, 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 WK. Fenugreek may lower blood glucose in some people. That sounds like the desired result. But when fenugreek is combined with insulin or medication that already lowers glucose, the combined effect may sometimes push glucose too low. A recent 2026 report described 4 insulin-treated patients who experienced hypoglycemic coma while also consuming fenugreek seeds in different traditional forms. 4 cases do not tell us how common this reaction is. They do not prove that everyone using insulin and fenugreek will experience a medical emergency, but they do give us an important warning. Do not add medicinal amounts of fenugreek to insulin treatment without discussing it with the clinician managing your diabetes. The same caution applies if you take a medication known to cause low blood sugar, including certain older diabetes pills. Possible signs of low blood sugar can include shaking, sweating, sudden hunger, a racing heartbeat, dizziness, weakness, confusion, or unusual sleepiness. Follow the low blood sugar plan provided by your healthcare team. Severe confusion, seizure, fainting, or loss of consciousness is an emergency. Fenugreek may also cause allergic reactions. Stop using it and seek urgent help if you develop swelling of the face or throat, wheezing, difficulty breathing, widespread hives, or faintness. You should also ask a healthcare professional before using large amounts if you take blood-thinning medication or several medications that could interact with herbal products. Do not stop insulin. Do not reduce a diabetes pill. And do not change a prescription because one morning reading looks better. Medication changes should be based on a pattern of readings and made with the professional who understands your medical history. Number. How to find out whether fenugreek fits your body. If your healthcare professional says it is reasonable to try fenugreek, do not change 5 things at the same time. Choose one preparation. Keep the rest of the meal reasonably consistent. Record how much fenugreek you used. Write down what you ate with it. Monitor your glucose at the times recommended by your healthcare team. And note any symptoms, such as bloating, diarrhea, dizziness, shaking, sweating, or unusual weakness. This gives you information you can actually use. If you add fenugreek, change your breakfast, start walking after meals, and alter your medication on the same day, you will not know which change caused the result. One change at a time is slower, but it is also clearer and safer. Number. The simple takeaway. At the beginning, we asked whether blood sugar control always requires removing every carbohydrate. The answer is no. The type of carbohydrate, the portion, the complete meal, your activity, and the fiber accompanying that meal can all affect the result. Fenugreek is interesting mainly because it contains fiber that forms a gel when mixed with water. But the lesson is not that fenugreek cures diabetes. The lesson is that preparation matters. If you drink only the water and discard the seeds, you may leave behind a meaningful portion of the fiber. If you add honey to hide the bitterness, you may work against your goal. If you roast the seeds, do it for flavor, not because roasting has been proven to activate a treatment. If you soak the seeds overnight, keep them refrigerated, and consider using the softened seeds rather than throwing them away. And if you use insulin or glucose-lowering medication, speak with your healthcare professional before using fenugreek in amounts larger than those normally used as a spice. You do not need to change your entire routine tomorrow. Start by understanding what you are already doing, then make one careful, informed adjustment. That is how a small change becomes something you can safely maintain. Have you ever used fenugreek as whole seeds, powder, or as part of a cooked meal? Share your experience in the comments, including how you prepared it. And remember, your experience may help another woman ask a better question, but it does not replace medical advice. Now, some women notice something very confusing. Their blood sugar is highest first thing in the morning, even though they have not eaten all night. That does not necessarily mean dinner was the only problem. Your liver can release glucose while you sleep, creating what is often called the dawn phenomenon. In the next video, we will explain why morning glucose rises after 60 and the evening habits worth discussing with your healthcare professional. Watch that video next. Number editors. Source notes, not read aloud. The video's opening pathway was adapted from the supplied viral transcript. Challenge carbohydrate elimination. Explain insulin simply. Introduce an additive food strategy, and then move into fenugreek. The wording, promises, structure of the fenugreek section, examples, safety sequence, and conclusion are newly developed. Updated research reviews suggest that fenugreek may improve some glycemic measures, but the studies vary substantially in preparation, dose, participant group, and quality. The evidence does not support presenting fenugreek as a standalone diabetes treatment. NCCIH states that research suggesting blood sugar benefits includes many studies of limited quality. It also lists gastrointestinal effects, allergies, harmful blood sugar reduction at large doses, and potential medication interactions among the concerns. The 2026 safety paragraph is based on a report involving 4 patients using pre-mixed insulin who developed hypoglycemic coma while also consuming fenugreek. The report supports a possible to probable association, but does not establish the frequency of this reaction in the wider population.